So Nintendo decided to surprise us tonight. It's not going to be a news wave tomorrow because it's actually was being filmed while this was announced, and it threw me and I think everyone else through a bit of a loop here because it appears that Nintendo is actually going to be bringing some of their first-party stuff into VR with the Labo VR stuff. I have some concerns about it, of course, but they're going to be doing it, and it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be compelling enough to get a Labo VR, at least the goggles, just to see what these things can do. Because it appears like you can just use the goggles, I guess, to try these things out. And I do have some questions about it, but let's go over kind of what's happening here and why people are a bit surprised. So we know, of course, Labo VR coming, April 12th. So next Friday, it'll be out, and it's going to have a bunch of little, mini games and stuff that you can use after you build them and everything. I was going to get it either way to check it out so we can kind of talk a bit about it here. But now we're apparently going to be able to play Super Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's right, we're going to be able to play those in this Labo VR headset. I don't really know how well it's going to look or it's going to work, but let me actually move down here. They have a nice little video for us, which is just kind of cool. So they have See Mario's World in a whole new way with Labo VR. Free software update. So they're basically both going to get free software updates starting April 25th, it appears. And I assume that's going to be, you have Zelda, you have Mario, and then you just update them. Like it'll basically prompt you for an update. And you go from there. Super Mario Odyssey game and the Toy-Con VR goggles from the VR kit. And it has bite-sized bonus experience in simple, family-friendly VR. You revisit the Cap, Seaside, and Luncheon Kingdoms in 3 new mini-missions. I don't really know what they're going to have you do. It's going to be interesting to see those places in VR. And Mario Odyssey probably has the best chance of working well in VR compared to Zelda, because they're going to be bringing Breath of the Wild into VR. And that is the one that caught me off guard. I said before, I think Mario Odyssey worked because the frame rate is higher in Mario Odyssey, but I mean, a lot of us know Breath of the Wild is a 30 frames per second game, and even then it will have trouble at times. So that's the one I'm the most curious about. It's because it says with free software update for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild game and the Toy-Con VR goggles from Nintendo Labo VR kit, enjoy this epic adventure like never before. Turning the future on and off is a snap. And I hear this, and I wonder, does that mean that it's just going to work for all of Zelda? Like, does that mean that if I'm playing Breath of the Wild and it's on, I can go and do anything in the game and it's in VR? Because that sounds insane. Let me actually go through it. They actually made a nice little trailer for us too. Look at this. So they have that little animation for Labo, which is kind of neat. And it's only like a minute and a half long, but like you can kind of see the little rainbow effect. That's kind of what you'll get when it's with those lenses and everything. But they have the bite-sized. They have like the bite-sized experiences, they say here. Collect music notes, coins, complete objectives, and 3 new mini missions. Revisit the Cap. Yep. So talked about that. The one that I was really curious about, which like it's Zelda. Zelda's the one that really interests me to hear that they're going to be doing that, because it appears that it's just like Breath of the Wild. Is it just that pre-rendered cutscenes not compatible with VR? Those will probably shut off and it'll just be like a flat screen that you see. But like it's all of it? That's the thing that's crazy to me. I think it's going to be like the entire thing. It is. So let's say, I think I said you had to start a new save file too. So keep that in mind. It looked like you have to start a new save file to enjoy this. You do not need to start a new save file. That's good. So you don't have to start a new save file. I guess it just really pares back the visuals. You can kind of see it a little bit around the edges and everything. And I guess they're just going to try to steady the frame rate, and they're just going to have VR with Zelda completely. I mean, everybody owns Zelda at this point, right? You just get the VR goggles. Wow, that is an interesting push from Nintendo, because it seems like they are using their first-party stuff with VR, which this is happening a lot faster than the other Labo stuff when that came out. Because remember, Mario Kart became compatible, and now we have Zelda and we have Mario immediately. I mean, this is like, the thing's not even out yet. Now, it's not going to come until April 25th. I get that. That's what, like almost two weeks, yeah, about 2 weeks afterwards, but that's still very impressive, and it's certainly going to help to drive sales, because I think most people are very interested in seeing Zelda in VR. So I feel like the kit that's going to sell the best for them, obviously at this point with this announcement, because it seems that's all you need, is their starter kit that come with just the goggles. Now my question here is, how is this going to work if it doesn't actually attach to your head? Because as of now, of course, you have to hold the system up with the two Joy-Con on either side, and that's how you play it. So you have to hold it like this. Will there be an optional accessory? It's basically a band. You could probably do it with a hole punch anyway. You could probably hole punch either side, run out your own band around, and you'd be fine. Because Zelda's not a pick up and play game to the point where you're playing for 2 minutes at a time. And especially once you get into VR, you're probably going to want to look around a lot. Mario, that whole thing's mini games. Breath of the Wild appears to be the entire game in VR. So how does that work exactly? I'm not sure. And now I am very interested in this VR project, only to see what that looks like. It also makes me wonder if Nintendo is taking this a bit more seriously, if they're dropping their first party IPs that are this big. Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild, two of the best selling games on the Switch right now, obviously outside of Mario Kart, is going to be in VR. Also, how is Mario Kart not in VR? That would actually make the most sense. Out of all of the games, that's the one I would have thrown on there. It runs 60 frames. It's a racing game, so you don't have to move around much when you're, using it. But Zelda Breath of the Wild? Yeah, I'm okay with Zelda Breath of the Wild. Let me know what you guys think about the situation down below. I thought it was very odd and interesting, and it's not going to fit into Newswave tomorrow. So let me talk about it real quick here and make sure you guys are up to date on it. Make sure you guys like the video. If you enjoyed it, dislike it if not. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.